guys, it's Rachel here. As you can see from the title, I've decided to do another reading vlog, and this one is going to center around Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I have been wanting to read this series for a very long time, and so I thought it would be cool to document my experience of reading this series. And I'm really excited because I've been doing a buddy read with some friends that I've met on book Twitter, and we are reading one book of this series per month. So in January, we actually read The Assassin's Blade, which is actually a bind up of prequel novellas to the series. And after reading The Assassin's Blade, it just made me all the more excited to actually jump into this series. So I am very excited to start reading this book. I've actually already read some of it. I am currently on page 51. But before we get into what I think of this book so far, I am going to give you guys a brief synopsis. I think I'm just going to read some of the synopsis that is on the inside cover of this. So it says, when magic has gone from the world and a vicious king rules from his throne of glass, an assassin comes to the castle. She does not come to kill, but to win her freedom. If she can defeat 23 killers, thieves, and warriors in a competition to find the greatest assassin in the land, she will become the king's champion and be released from prison. Her name is Celaena Sardothien. The crown prince will provoke her, the captain of the guard will protect her, and a princess from a foreign land will become the one thing Celaena never thought she'd have again, a friend. So yeah, that kind of gives you the overall synopsis. I am really enjoying this so far. I personally really enjoy Sarah J Maas's writing style. I just think it's so easy to read, and every time I start one of her books I immediately get sucked into the world and these characters. And I'm also enjoying being introduced to characters whose names I've heard a lot of booktubers talk about, such as Kale Westfall and Dorian Havilyard. And yeah, I don't have a ton to say because I've only read 50 pages, but I can tell you that I am already loving this. And I will probably update you guys at some point tomorrow because I don't think I will be able to read a ton of pages before I go to bed tonight. But yeah, I'm super excited to get into this book and I cannot wait to give you guys all my thoughts. I am going to try my best to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but if there are some spoilery things that I just absolutely have to talk about, I will definitely give you guys a lot of warning before those certain sections of the vlog. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, it is Monday afternoon. I'm actually about to go get ready to go to opera rehearsal, but I wanted to give you guys a reading update. So I am actually on page 199 of Throne of Glass, so I am actually just about 50% of the way through, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think I would get that far into the book after just reading for about a day and a half, but I have to say that I am really enjoying this book so far, and it's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. So this book is marketed as being kind of a crossover between like Game of Thrones and The Hunger Games, and I'm definitely seeing the similarities, especially with The Hunger Games, because essentially what's happening is that there's this competition to be the king's champion, and there are 23 competitors, and essentially every week they do like at least one test to kind of eliminate a competitor each week. The first challenge is definitely reminiscent of Katniss and The Hunger Games because it's an archery challenge. Sarah J Maas was definitely influenced by The Hunger Games, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because I feel like this story is unique and it is its own thing, but she does draw inspiration from other books and other series. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but I've already started putting some tabs. I typically only tab and annotate fantasy books, especially fantasy series, because that just helps me keep track of characters and important plot points and all that stuff. So I thought that I might as well tell you guys what my tabbing system is. So I just use these tabs. These are 7 different colors. I got these from Amazon. I will try my best to find a link to where you guys can buy these. But essentially how I tab is I use the pink ones for scenes that I love or romantic scenes. I use orange tabs for scenes or moments that I think are really funny or are really cute. I use yellow tabs. I don't know how well you can see that, but I use yellow tabs for exciting scenes such as battle scenes or action scenes. I use green tabs for either something like a plot twist or something that's really surprising. I use blue tabs for world building and important information. Then I use dark purple for quotes that I really love, and then this lighter purple color for important plot points. I also kind of wanted to talk about a couple of quotes that I really love and a couple of scenes that I really love. Again, I'm gonna be as spoiler free as possible, but there is this scene where where, who is she talking to at this point? I believe she's talking to Chaol. They're in the library in the castle. And so she's asking, why are none of your folk here? Meaning, like, why are none of your fellow guards here? And Chaol says, guards are of no use in a library. And then Celaena says, oh, how wrong he was. Libraries were full of ideas, perhaps the most dangerous and powerful of all weapons. I just really loved that quote. Then a scene that I really adored that I just had to talk about is this little letter exchange between Celaena and Dorian. And essentially here she's basically asking him permission to borrow some of the books from the king's personal library. And it's just so cute because he sends 7 books from his own personal library that he recently read and enjoyed immensely. It says that he wants her to read these books first so that they can discuss them, and I just thought that was just such a cute exchange. I had to put a pink tab on that scene. And I also want to talk about the world building. I'm on page 30 and I underlined most of like these 2 pages because they talk about basically how magic was outlawed by the current king of Adarlan, but he outlawed it all, magic, fae, fairies, and removed any trace so thoroughly that even those who had magic in their blood almost believed that it never really existed, Celaena herself being one of them. And then it's interesting because she says, within a month of his proclamation, magic had completely and utterly disappeared of its own accord. Perhaps it had realized what horrors were coming. So I think it's just really interesting, this discussion that she's having with Chaol and some of Prince Dorian's other guards. As they're in Oakwald Forest at this point, and so they're all discussing what magic used to be in this forest, and Celaena seems to have a lot more knowledge than the rest of them about how this world used to be, and I just think this is really interesting. But yeah, overall, this book is definitely not what I thought it was going to be. So much more than just this competition to be the king's champion, and I don't think that I'll have any problems at all finishing this tomorrow because I'm already halfway through, and I'm sure that I'll be able to read quite a bit before going to bed tonight. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, it is Tuesday evening and I wanted to give you guys a reading update for Throne of Glass. I am currently on page 302, so I have just about 100 pages left, and I'm definitely going to finish this book tonight because I'm actually getting ready to start my very first 24-hour readathon, which I am also doing a completely separate vlog for, so definitely be on the look for that video. I'm not sure if this vlog will be posted first or that one, but I will definitely post the link to the 24-hour readathon vlog down below. So I'm definitely still enjoying this book. I will say the last 50 to 75 pages or so that I've read, the pacing has slowed down a little bit, and I think that's mainly because the plot right now isn't focusing as much on the competition. It's focusing on other aspects of the plot, so I think that's why it's reading a little bit slower, but I am still really enjoying it. There are some things I want to talk about in general with this book. For one thing, I'm pretty sure that a love triangle is forming between Celaena, Chaol, and Dorian, and I honestly don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I'm a huge fan of it because honestly, I just see Chaol and Celaena being friends, honestly, and I can definitely see her being with Dorian, but I definitely don't really see her being with Chaol, so I think I'll just have to wait and see how the whole relationship plays out, but right now I'm not the biggest fan of it. So one thing I want to talk about is the PTSD rep that is in this series so far, and specifically that has to do with Celaena herself. So in the Assassin's Blade, which is the bind up of prequel novellas, Celaena definitely has PTSD because there is an event in that book where she essentially gets beaten up really badly, and Sam, who is her love interest, is also involved in that. Throughout that bind up, you kind of see her having these nightmares and these visions about this beating that she received, and you can just see how traumatized she is. And then in Throne of Glass, she definitely has PTSD about her time in Endovier being a slave in the salt mines. I think it's very interesting that Sarah J Maas is showing Celaena in such a vulnerable light. And I know that a lot of people hate on Celaena because she seems like this arrogant asshole, honestly. But you can definitely see that there's a lot of vulnerability with her, especially because she's just gone through so much in both of these books. I feel like we don't really see a lot of mental illnesses or disorders in fantasy novels, and so I don't know, I just think that's really cool that Sarah J Maas has made kind of this PTSD a part of her character's journey, and to go along with other subjects that I feel like are never featured in fantasy novels. There is a scene where basically Celaena's periods start coming back, because when she was a slave in Endovier, she was very unhealthy, she was very malnourished, and so her periods kind of went away while she was in Endovier, and so now that she's actually healthy again, her periods have come back. In this scene, we're shown how extreme Celaena's periods are. Every woman's period is different. Some people have much more extreme symptoms than others, and Celaena has very extreme symptoms, and she ends up vomiting because she's in so much pain, and I just think it's really great, again, that Sarah J Maas is showing this vulnerability to Celaena and this realness and this raw aspect of some women's lives. I just thought that both of these aspects, Sarah J Maas showing PTSD as well as showing extreme menstrual cycles, is just a very interesting thing that I feel like we never see in fantasy novels or YA fantasy for that matter. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't read many YA novels in general where people are really talking about what women go through during their periods. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that up. Oh, one more thing I wanted to talk about is I remember seeing Caleb from Insane Reader. I'll link his channel below. He's so funny, so hilarious. He was talking about rereading this entire series, but he was just talking about how he was so annoyed by this book because of Sarah J Maas's use of exclamation marks, and I do have to say that I totally see where he's coming from. She uses a lot of exclamation marks, and I don't know what it is about reading that kind of punctuation in novels, but it just reads as like kind of weird and comical to me. Exclamation marks are something that I feel like you kind of need to use sparingly, because if you use them too much, it does come off weird, and I don't really quite know how to explain it, but I did want to kind of point that out. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this update, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, it is Wednesday evening, and I actually finished Throne of Glass last night, so I thought I would give you guys my final thoughts. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. It definitely went places that I wasn't expecting it to go. It really is so much more than just the competition to become the King's Champion. I am really liking all of the characters. At first, I wasn't really sure how I thought about Nehemia, who is the foreign princess that Celaena befriends, but towards the end of the book, she really shows just how supportive she is and how much she loves Celaena. I just think that they have a really great friendship. Also liking the development with Celaena's relationships with both Chaol and Dorian, and I'm really just interested to see how their relationships play out throughout the series. And like I said earlier in the vlog, I really do enjoy Sarah J Maas's writing style. I think she makes it really easy to be able to access this complex, fantastical world. I would highly recommend this series so far if you are just getting into YA fantasy in general. And while I do think the pacing slowed down a little bit towards the middle of the novel, it definitely picked up again towards the end. So I think overall this book is paced really well. I think that's about it for my thoughts on this book. I am rating Throne of Glass 4 out of 5 stars. And that is going to be it for this reading vlog. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you would also consider subscribing, and don't forget to push that notification bell button below so you will be notified every time I upload. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!